Hi, Dick Smith here. It suddenly occurred to me, I get letters all the time. This is from a community care group. We contact you to seek a donation towards our community care winter appeal to help struggling families in winter. Did you know that 1 in 6 people experience financial hardship this winter, and many will struggle to put a meal on the table? Incredibly serious. And I suddenly realised that the rich list had come out. Now, can you imagine this? It lists 91 billionaires in Australia who have doubled their wealth in the last 5 years, while most people haven't kept up with inflation. And in this particular rich list, there's ads for watches that sell for $250,000, $250,000. Now, what people don't know is I'd contacted the editors of the rich list and I said, look, are you prepared to put under each entry an entry for philanthropy, whether the person's a good philanthropist or not known? The editors refused. One of them said to me, Dick, a lot of these people on the rich list pay no tax, let alone donate anything to charity. And I remember this statement here. 48 Australian millionaires earned 118 million, paid accountants and lawyers 22.2 million to reduce their taxable income to $0 and pay zero tax. What bludgers! They're using the police, they're using the defence and the security of this country and paying nothing for it. This should be called, by the way, not the rich list, it should be called the greed list. It's interesting, on the front cover is a businessman. He's a Chinese businessman and he's a philanthropist. They couldn't find an Australian that they hadn't covered before that's into philanthropy. And it's quite a pity. Only 15% of those on the rich list are known as philanthropists when everyone should be. Now, of course, some of the billionaires state, oh, well, we're not known as philanthropists because we do the giving secretly. Well, I don't believe them. I've been in touch with the major charities and they've said, Dick, we never receive large amounts anonymously. And also, these people on the rich list, they're showing off. They ring up the editors and say, oh, you've only got me in at 8 billion, I'm worth 9 billion. So why would they want to show off and then say, oh, but we do our giving secretly? Also, it's completely unfair because if you're a typical Australian, you don't have lots of money to give away, so you volunteer, whether it's with the Scouts or with the Mothers Club or all of these various organisations, the Bushfire Brigade. Now, you can't wear a disguise and do it anonymously, but these rich people think, oh, they're so superior, they can do their giving secretly if you believe it. Now, I mentioned the $250,000 watch. Who would ever need that? Typical watch for $50 would do. I understand Bill Gates has a $50 watch. Imagine if you could use some of that $250,000 or the whole lot of it to help some of the poor people. What's going to happen to these rich people, or more likely to their grandkids, is, I'll put it bluntly, they'll be killed. This is a photograph of the Tsar and the Tsarina and their beautiful children. In 1918, they were murdered. In fact, the kids were bashed and bayoneted to death because of sheer greed, the type of sheer greed we're getting now. No one should be a billionaire in this country unless they're known as a generous philanthropist, because it's an obligation. I mean, imagine the money they could help things like the police legacy, where police men and women go out and lose their lives and their families someone needs to help them. But most of these billionaires, most of them do absolutely nothing. It's outrageous. We should do something about it. By the way, if the Australian Financial Review would move away from being the greed list to, it could be something like the good list, because they list there who are the philanthropists, who are not. And of course, everyone would want to be on that list, and so there'd be motivation to do the right thing, to fulfill your obligation. Remember, Henry Lawson talked about passing around the hat and our tradition of mateship. Well, it's all been forgotten. When I was a young kid, all of the wealthy, they were millionaires in those days, were known as philanthropists. That's all gone. As I said, only 15% of those on the rich list are known as philanthropists. Absolutely disgusting. We've got to do something about it.